What is this inflation all about? What is deflation? And how is recession different from these terms? Let's try to understand all these static topics through a very important current affairs, which is not just into the news for 1-2 days, but maybe for 6 months. Yes, I'm talking about China's deflationary pressure. That means China is going from last 6 months, if you see, China is going through a deflationary cycle, okay, deflationary phase. So in that case, let's today try to look at very important static topics also, as well as overall, let's discuss deflation at its full concept. So today the topic of discussion is China's deflationary pressure raising investor concerns. Whatever investors are there in China, those are concerned with the deflation which is going on in the economy. So as we all know that Chinese economy after COVID-19, okay, this recent 6 month or 8 month, here the deflationary wave was going on, and even some of the economic experts were saying that probably this particular deflation may turn out into recession. So let's try to understand what is the news about. So news is nothing but as China's overall whatever exports are there since last 2 to 3 months, those are dropping, and those exports, whatever the exports from China are there, those are declining only because of this particular deflation. So in this light, let's understand that what happens in any of the economy. So consider any country and consider any economy. When you look at the economic activity of that particular country, then we can draw a graph where we can draw a baseline which shows 0. Now whatever the economic growth we could see, that would be increasing in the upper section of your baseline, and whatever reduction in the growth or maybe decline in the growth and development will happen, that would be happening below the baseline. So overall, whenever economic activity or maybe economic cycle, when I am talking about, it is nothing but a graph which makes up a cyclic system which is having crest and trough. What do you mean by crest and trough? It is nothing but a peak, economic cycle which shows peak as well as which shows lows. So highs and lows. So for example, this particular high here you could see, this is the crest, and this particular low you could see, that is your trough. So this happens in your economy. Generally, if you see the ideal state of economy, if we see, it could be just the growth rate is, whatever economic growth and development is, that would be just going, increasing in one direction. But that will not happen in any of the realistic cases in different countries. And that is why the growth is not always maybe ellipsoid or maybe just increasing in one direction, but rather it is sinusoidal. That means it is an economic cycle where always there is increase in growth and development and then decline, then again increase, then again decline. So therefore it is a sinusoidal wave. So overall, if you see a economic activity of a country, it starts with the baseline, and then what we see is that initially either depending a country is underdeveloped, maybe developing, or maybe developed, that country would be showing you certain traits. For example, the lowest possible low or trough any country on the economic cycle, whatever it achieves, that is called as depression. So depression is nothing but where all the whatever factors are there or maybe indicators are there of the economic growth and development, those are declining or very, very low. Then to bring that particular economy out of the depression, particular whatever monetary and fiscal policies changes are done by government and the apex bank, that is for example in India it is RBI, that particular changes or maybe that increase in growth and development, that is called as reflation. So for example, whenever you are bringing a country out of depression, that is called as reflation. So depression is nothing but where all your indicators are very, very low and the growth also is very, very declining. If this depression goes on continuing, then it can also turn out to be recession, and recession is nothing but where whatever growth is there, that is declining, development is declining, employment is also very, very less, and overall prices of the goods are also very, very less. So this particular investment is less again. So all these are nothing but indicators of recession. So reflation, as I told you, government is trying to bring the economy out of depression. Then again, here you could see the growth is picking itself and it reaches at the crest, that is the highest point, and here you could see the prices of the goods are very, very high, and that prices of the good, whenever they are high, we all know it is called as inflation, right? Then you could see again government tries to reduce those prices of the goods. Why? Because very, very high inflation also, it is harmful for the consumer also as well as for the economy. So therefore government will again use its fiscal policy and monetary policy to reduce your prices of the goods, and this particular activity or this particular trend in growth is called as deflation. Then more the prices are reducing, so for example a continuous decrease in prices of goods, that is called your deflation, and continuous increase in the prices of the good, that is called as inflation. That means inflation and deflation actually are pole opposite of each other. Now when I talk about China's case, here you could see the consumer price index and even PPI, okay, this both indicators of your what inflation are showing very low values which are very, very close to baseline, that is 0 or maybe less than 0. So you could see the consumer price index in October was 0.2%. Okay, overall GDP also is 4.9% in the first quarter. So overall here you could see the CPI and PPI value from the January 2021, and we could see a possible drop in both of these values. This shows that how China's deflationary pressure is there, and therefore it is creating concerns in the Chinese economy. Now, what are the 5 reasons for the China's deflation? The first important reason is 2019, 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic. So the first reason is COVID-19 pandemic. Then is after COVID-19 pandemic, the Russia-Ukraine war. This Russia-Ukraine war further stimulated again the trade war between United States of America as well as China. So these are some of the reasons. From pandemic, that is COVID-19, continuously there were various particular reasons because of which Chinese economy was affected in the global trade. So overall from 2003, if you observe the real GDP growth, then you will observe that in the first phase from 2003 to 2013, this 10 years, almost Chinese economy was doing well. But after 2015, here you could see that overall whatever Chinese growth is there, that has dropped. Now the certain main reasons, as I told you, first is COVID-19 pandemic, second is Russia-Ukraine war, third is the trade war between China and USA. These are certain reasons why particularly in China, what the total GDP, that is growth, is also on the decline, and at the same time as growth is on decline, various demand and supply factors are there which are responsible for the deflationary wave in the China. Now what are the different reasons? First is consumer price, as CPI has reduced to 0.2. Then you could see the overall government debt in the China, if you see, it is 92 trillion yuan, that is $12.6 trillion. So here government debt is also there. Apart from that, if you see, even whatever investment in China is there in the fixed assets, that is even at a very slower pace. So therefore investment in fixed asset is also not well. And other than that, even IMF has forecasted that Chinese growth is only at 5.4%, where India's growth has been predicted to 7.4%. So Chinese is 5.4% only. This shows that overall growth is reducing and the reason may be deflation. Let's try to understand what deflation is. We all know what inflation is. Inflation is nothing but the increase in the prices of the product per unit time. For example, today if I am going and buying a particular cold drink at 40 rupees, and maybe after 2 years the same 40 rupees cold drink, if it becomes of 70 or 80 rupees, then therefore the change in the price, the increase in the price, this is called as inflation. The pole opposite of that, it is deflation. For example, the 40 rupees cold drink, if because of various demand and supply reason, if that 40 rupees becomes of 20 rupees, then it would be called as deflation. So again you have to remember that consumers in context of deflation, they are profited in the sense what, for example, 2 cases, 2 केस लेते, एक है इन्फ्लेशन का केस, और दूसरा है डिफ्लेशन का केस। अब इन्फ्लेशन में देखो, इन्फ्लेशन इज नथिंग बट महंगाई। फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई गिव यू 500 रुपीज, 500 रुपीज में मैंने आपसे कहा कि 100 रुपीज की 5 टी शर्ट लेके आओ, ठीक है। आई टोल्ड टू यू दैट गो एंड बाय इन द मार्केट 100 रुपी टी शर्ट, okay, and take this 500 rupees and buy five t-shirts. Now remember very carefully, the first case is inflationary case. Now remember very carefully, you gone to the market, in market you saw that inflation is there. Inflation means price increase. 100 rupee t-shirt was there, but now in the market inflation is there. That means it is not for 100 rupees, it is for 150 rupees. So now earlier, if 100 rupee t-shirt, if you had 500 rupees, you could have bought 5 t-shirts out of it. But because of inflation, the t-shirt is not for 100 rupees, it's for 150 rupees. So now the case in context of inflation is such that you cannot buy 5 t-shirts, you can buy only less than 5 t-shirts. That means imagine if suppose you are having 500 with you and 150 rupees t-shirt अगर prices हो गए, तो इसका मतलब यह है कि आप 3 से 4 t-shirts ही ला सकते हो। आप 3 से 4 टी शर्ट्स ही ला सकते हो, आप 5 टी शर्ट्स नहीं ला सकते। क्यों? क्योंकि टी शर्ट की प्राइस अब 100 रुपए नहीं है, 150 रुपए है। सो देयरफॉर हियर यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, इन इन्फ्लेशन कंज्यूमर सफर्स। नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस टू द प्रोड्यूसर, जिसने टी शर्ट बनाया है, ठीक है, वो यहां पर उसका प्रॉफिट हो रहा है। कैसे? पहले तो मार्केट में 100 रुपए में टी शर्ट था, लेकिन अभी मार्केट में क्या हो गया है, 100 रुपए का टी शर्ट 150 में, तो प्रोड्यूसर को तो एक्स्ट्रा 50 रुपए मिल रहा है, कंज्यूमर को एक्स्ट्रा 50 रुपए देना पड़ रहा है। तो कंज्यूमर इज एट लॉस एंड प्रोड्यूसर इज एट प्रॉफिट इन इन्फ्लेशन। व्हाट हैपेंस इन डिफ्लेशन? डिफ्लेशन में यह होगा कि सेम मार्केट में जाओगे, सेम मैंने आपको 500 रुपए दिए, मैंने कहा कि 100 रुपए की टी शर्ट्स लेके आओ, लेकिन मार्केट में अब डिफ्लेशन है, तो अब क्या होगा? टी शर्ट 100 रुपए को नहीं बिकेगा, t-shirt would be sold at less than 100 rupees. That means maybe at 80 rupees, maybe at 60 rupees. It means that you will not be buying just 5 t-shirts. You will be buying 6, 7, 8 t-shirts depending on the whatever lesser price is there than 100 rupees. It means consumer is buying more amount of goods in less amount of rupees. It means that value of your currency or maybe value of your money is there, that is higher in deflation. Value of money in inflation is lesser. Value of money in deflation is here is of course higher. How come? For example, look at it. I just gave you 500 rupees. Earlier when 100 rupee t-shirt price was there, you were able to bring only 5 t-shirt, but because of deflation now you can bring even 10 t-shirts. For example, if just 60 rupees t-shirt is there or 50 rupees. So 50 rupees t-shirt is there, 100 rupee t-shirt 50 because of deflation. Now you can bring not 5 t-shirts, 10 t-shirts. So it means that your total money value whatever is there, okay? Whatever your purchase, whatever your purchasing price is there or money value is there, when we talk in terms of good, that increases in deflation, but in inflation it reduces. Okay, so in this way, this is the main concept of or the difference between deflation and inflation. Both things are different from each other and there are various factors which result into inflation and deflation. For example, reasons of deflation here I will try to tell you. For example, deflation देख लो. For example, market में demand बढ़ गया. For example, यहां पर आप देख सकते हो reduced consumer demand. Consider you gone to market. Okay, suppose 100 t-shirts are there of 100 rupees. Okay, every day in that market maybe 200 people are coming to buy that t-shirt. Okay, now reduced consumer demand means what? Now if 200 people were coming, of course shopkeeper had many people as their consumer to buy those t-shirts. Just imagine that total number of consumer decrease now. Okay, so if you consider that earlier 200 consumers were coming, now only 50 are coming. It means that as the demand is less, when 200 people were there in the market, the demand was more. Therefore, the t-shirt was being sold at maybe normal 100 rupee price or maybe more than 100 rupees price. Okay, so whenever demand is higher, inflation is there. Demand is less, deflation occurs. For example, earlier 200 people were there in the market. Now only 50 are there. Now these 50 people would be saying to the shopkeepers that, see, if you are giving at 80 rupees or 60 rupees, then only I will buy the t-shirt. Otherwise, I am not buying. Shopkeeper cannot even say to the consumer that I will not buy it to you, I will buy it to someone else. Because in market, this someone else is very, very less. 200 people are not there. So the choice of a shopkeeper to make his consumer is very, very less. So therefore, here you could see how total drop or maybe reduction in consumer demand results into deflation. Therefore, producers or shopkeepers are forced to sell particular good at lesser prices. So therefore, here's how deflation occurs because of lesser demand. Then comes oversupply of good. For example, now here the 200 people are there in the market. There is no change. But shopkeepers are having not 100 t-shirts to sell, but rather 1000 t-shirts to sell. Okay, in the total market. So therefore, now this 100, whatever this 200 consumers are there in the market, those would be saying to shopkeepers that as t-shirts are more into the market, I will not buy it from you, I will buy it from someone else. And shopkeepers also thinking that these products are too much into the market, therefore I would sell them in the lower prices. Again, how excessive supply results into deflation. Then comes technological advancement. Imagine that for making one cold drink, okay, and selling it at MRP 40 rupees, it requires only 8 to 10 rupees for the production cost of that particular cold drink. Suppose that now we brought a specific machine with which the total production cost and the labor cost is reducing, and we can make that cold drink in only 2 rupees. Imagine just 2 rupees. Then overall its MRP also will be reducing. So therefore now the 2 rupees production cost will result into not 40 rupees MRP, it will result into 20 rupee MRP. Therefore see here, 40 rupee cold drink now became 20 rupee cold drink. This is how again inflation occurs because of technology. Then comes tight monetary policies by central bank. If tight monetary policies are there, it is nothing but of course tightening of the total money supply. It means that loans have become expensive. It means that investment will not be there in the market. It means that total production, whatever is there in the market, still profit also will not be there in the market. Therefore, whatever producers are there, whatever your businessmen are there, they will try to cut the cost. They will try to reduce the production cost as they cannot take more loan for investment. And how they will cut the cost? Maybe by reducing the wages, maybe by removing the people from the job. So this is how deflation takes place. Now next thing, try to understand here the difference. Inflation is nothing but rise in price, and whereas deflation is nothing but decrease in the prices of goods and services. So when you understand deflation, as I told you, the value of money is increasing. When the prices of the goods are reducing, you can buy more number of goods with the same amount of money. It means that whatever money you are holding, its value is increasing. So this you have to understand. So for example, in case of consumers, of course they will profit. In context of producers, they will lose. In context as producers will lose, they will try to balance out their profits by reducing the wages, by job loss, and again the consumer also will be affected. So in this way, deflation actually results into lower investment, lower expenditure, lower consumption, and it turns a virtuous cycle of economy into vicious cycle. I hope you got the point, how a total whatever virtuous cycle of economic engine is there, that is converted into vicious cycle. So for example, here you could see the first case in which money supply happens in the market and how deflation occurs in an economy. Suppose money supply is excessively there in the market. Okay, if this money supply is excessively there in the market, you will understand more investment would be there. Okay, here you could see, here if decrease in money supply is there in the market, okay, my bad, if decrease in the money supply is there in the market, decrease in the sense whatever money supply is there, that is reduced. Okay, less amount of money in the hand of producers, less loans are given to the producers or maybe businessmen, investment is less, production is less. As all these things are less, the supply also is less. Supply is less, now it would now result again into overall converting a virtuous cycle of economy into vicious cycle. So here you can see when the overall money supply in an economy reduces, it results into your deflationary wave. Okay, now how government can prevent this? Of course, government can use different fiscal policy and your monetary policy to increase the money supply in your overall economy. So circular flow of economy is nothing but, you all would be knowing, the virtuous and vicious cycle of the economy. What is virtuous and vicious cycle of the economy? Imagine this. For example, companies are there. Companies or maybe your producer or businessmen are there. What they do? They do production of different goods. For making those goods, they give employment to the people. Okay. So here they are investing. Here they are doing expenditure. Similarly, here if you see the employees which are there or laborers which are there in the company, they are earning their wages and they are going into the market and spending on the different products which are being produced by this producer. So therefore, higher the production, higher the goods are brought into the market. Okay. So similarly, investment is also higher. Similarly, then again, consumption is also higher. More the consumption is there, again, the demand and supply also factors come into the place, and in this way the virtuous cycle of economy is nothing but where employment is also higher, the prices of the goods are also balanced between demand and supply, the production is higher, the investment is higher, overall economic and development is also higher. What happens in vicious cycle of economy is nothing but when other indicators and factors of demand and supply, they do not fall into a proper place. So what happens is, maybe the investment drops, total production also drops. Okay, the expenditure or consumption in the whatever economic market is there, that is declined or reduced. In this way, overall the economic growth or development is there, that is reduced or maybe it declines. So virtuous cycle and vicious cycle. So these two things. Now the main thing to understand here is that the decrease in money supply, the government and your RBI or your Apex Bank will always take care that there is no reduction in money supply, which will lead to deflationary pattern in the economy. But what about decrease in demand? Yes, the main reason and the long-term deflationary pattern which is harmful for any economy is driven by the decrease in demand. And how does demand decreases? For example, suppose in the market, if you see whatever the population is there, if they do not choose to buy certain products, if they think that we will save more, if they think that they will not be expending in the market, they will be not spending or maybe consuming in the market, therefore expenditure and consumption decreases, and as it decreases, automatically deflationary pattern again converts your virtuous cycle into vicious cycle. So the main thing here to understand is that decrease in demand is the main reason for your deflationary pattern. Oversupply of the money, I already told you, it is very less likely that due to oversupply of money and decrease in money supply result into deflation. The main reason is decrease in demand only. Let's try to understand the long-term demand, how it decreases and results into deflation. So for example, all the prices of the goods are dropped, therefore a long-term decrease in demand has set a deflationary spiral in the economy. That means a vicious cycle now has started to turn into virtuous cycle now has started to turn into vicious cycle. So therefore profitability reduced, less the profit, the producer or businessmen are trying to save their money by reducing the wages and cutting down the jobs, therefore job loss. Job loss is happening with the consumers, income is reduced. As income is reduced, investment is reduced. As investment is reduced, maybe even recession may be occurring as if the vicious cycle increases more. Now how does government handles this situation? For example, government plus RBI as Apex Bank is there, where government is doing fiscal policy and RBI is doing monetary policy. So government can reduce the taxes so that money supply is more, or maybe people are having more money in hand to spend. Second thing, government can itself increase the government expenditure. Maybe government can push out other government securities or even your bonds or maybe even other spendings which happen in the infrastructure or developmental activities, so that again the money supply is there in the market. Bond rates also government can increase, again a way to bring more money in the market. In this way government can increase the money supply, and therefore as more and more money would be there in the market, of course, because as people will have more money, they will buy more. As they will buy more, the demand would be more. वी ऑल वुड बी नोइंग, जब जेब में हमारे 1000 रुपए होता है ना, हम बहुत कुछ बाय करने के लिए जाते, लेकिन जब 200 रुपए होता है हम कुछ बाय नहीं करते. सो देयरफॉर मनी सप्लाई कैन पुश योर डिमांड. ये तो हम सबको पता लग गया. व्हाट वुड आरबीआई डू? आरबीआई कैन डिक्रीज द इंटरेस्ट रेट, जिससे लोन्स बहुत चीप हो जाएंगे. एज लोन्स वुड बी चीप, प्रोड्यूसर और बिजनेसमैन दे विल बाय लोन्स मोर. एज दे विल हैव मोर लोन्स, more the production, more employment, more your production of goods, more goods into the market, again supply, demand, and overall here you could see again virtuous cycle has been started. Cheap loans would be available. So this is how overall long term demand push deflation occurs and how government and RBI handles it. Okay, then let's talk about the impact of deflation. First positive impacts we will be talking about. First is lower interest rate. So for example, during deflation, we all know central bank might increase the interest rates to encourage borrowing and spending. क्या कर सकता है यहाँ पर हमारी जो बैंक है, मैंने पहले बताया आरबीआई क्या कर सकता है, इंटरेस्ट रेट्स को यहाँ पर आरबीआई डिक्रीज कर सकता है ताकि लोन्स जो है वो बहुत चीप हो जाए. एज लोन्स वुड बी चीपर, इट इज वेरी वेरी convenient situation for the consumers. Therefore, this can reduce the borrowing cost for the businesses and promote investment. And here is how for consumers this is very very useful, as lower interest rate loans are available for them. Then it's improved saving incentives. जब डिफ्लेशन हो रहा होता है ऑटोमेटिकली मार्केट में डिमांड कम होती है. डिमांड क्यों कम होती है? कम पैसे में बहुत सारे प्रोडक्ट मिल रहे हैं, इसलिए मेरा पैसा खर्च ही नहीं हो रहा है. जब मेरा पैसा ही खर्च नहीं हो रहा है तो मैं सेविंग करूंगा. दैट इज वाई सेविंग इंसेंटिव, that is what consumer gets. Then is economic efficiency. Deflation can drive businesses to become more efficient and cost effective. More efficient कैसे? कम पैसा खर्च करने की वजह से उनके जितने भी प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट है वो लोअर हो जाएंगे. Therefore, whatever remaining money is there, those they can use for increasing the efficiency. And then comes favorable fixed income benefits. It is nothing but जो भी लोग fixed income जैसे कि पेंशन, जैसे कि टर्म डिपॉजिट, ऐसे चीजों के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है, यहां पर भी एज विथ लेस अमाउंट ऑफ मनी यू आर गेटिंग वेरियस अदर प्रोडक्ट्स. इससे आपको यह रियलाइज होगा कि इवन फिक्स्ड इनकम इन्वेस्टमेंट, जो भी रिटायर हो चुके हैं लोग, जो भी पेंशन के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है, उनके लिए डिफ्लेशन बहुत ही बेनिफिशियल होता है. देन लेट्स टॉक अबाउट नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट्स. व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट्स, इकोनॉमिक कॉन्ट्रैक्शन इज नथिंग बट, एज आई टोल्ड यू, व्हेन पीपल लुक एट द लोअर प्राइसेस, they delay the purchases causing decrease in demand for goods and services. For example, लोगों को लगता है अरे कम प्राइस में ही तो मिल रहा है, ठीक है, अभी क्या कभी भी ले लेंगे. So because of this, demand of goods and services reduces. This leads to again lower production, lower business income, loss of jobs, employment reduction, reduction in wages, reduction in income, and overall टोटल आपका स्पेंडिंग भी, एक्सपेंडिचर भी कम हो जाता है. ओवरऑल क्या हुआ यहां पर? वर्चुअस साइकिल इकोनॉमी में अच्छे से चल रही थी, विशियस बन गई, आपका इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ और फट से नीचे चला जाएगा. देन डाउनवर्ड स्पाइरल, जैसे कि मैंने बताया इकोनॉमिक जो आपकी वर्चुअस साइकिल चल रही होती है अच्छे से, उसका इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ या फिर डेवलपमेंट जब नीचे चली जाती है बिकॉज ऑफ डिफ्लेशन, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज डाउनवर्ड स्पाइरल. इट इज नथिंग बट जॉब लॉस, then financial uncertainty, investment is less, income is less, spending is less, then decrease in business revenues, reduced prices can lower business income. Producer सबसे ज्यादा अफेक्ट होते हैं डिफ्लेशन में, ये हम सबको पता है. Increase in debt burden. Now always remember, as I told you, with inflation is nothing but rising in prices. Deflation is nothing but reduction in prices. Now imagine this particular example. For example, ये एक स्पेसिफिक एग्जाम्पल है, उसको थोड़ा सा देख लेना. सपोज मार्केट में $1 70 था, ठीक है. फिर आई एम सूरज, ओके, आई थॉट ऑफ बोरोइंग द मनी, दैट मीन्स टेकिंग द डेट, ठीक है. मैंने थोड़ा सोचा कि इंडियन बैंक से डेट लेने से बेटर है मैं ना फॉरेन से डेट लेता हूं, तो मैंने डिसाइड किया कि मैं ना टेलर स्विफ्ट से डेट ले लूंगा, ठीक है. तो मैंने जब डेट लिया तो जो $1 70 को था वो $80 को हो गया, ठीक है. दैट मीन्स 10 रुपीज मोर स्पेंडिंग अभी करनी पड़ेगी, ठीक है. सो हियर यू कुड सी अर्लियर द डॉलर वाज एट 70 रुपीज, देन इट बिकेम 80 रुपीज. इसका मतलब क्या है? यहां पर पहले डॉलर क्या था? 70 रुपए था, राइट. अब वो 80 रुपए हो गया. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ है? एप्रिसिएशन हुआ है कि डिप्रिसिएशन हुआ है? बताओ मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में. सो व्हेन यू लुक एट इट ओवरऑल, सेम एग्जांपल में सपोज सूरज ने टेलर स्विफ्ट से $50 अगर डेट या फिर उधारी ले ली, तो यहां पर देखो 50 into 70 इन द फर्स्ट केस व्हेन $1 was 70 रुपीज, यहां पर 3,500 रुपीज इज माई टोटल डेट, जो कि मुझे रिटर्न करना है टेलर स्विफ्ट को। अगर अब सिचुएशन ऐसा हो गया कि $1 80 रुपीज हो गया, ठीक है, सो नाउ लुक एट द कैलकुलेशन वेयर 50 into 80 is 4,000, दैट मीन्स लुक एट इट, पहले डेट मैंने जब 70 रुपए पे लिया था 3,500 रुपीज मेरा टोटल डेट था, लेकिन जब रिटर्न करना है तो 4,000 रुपए हो गया, 500 रुपए ज्यादा, राइट। सो इन दिस वे whatever in deflation if you see, now this is nothing but in a way it is deflation only। यहां पर आप देख सकते हो डिफ्लेशन ही तो हुआ है, ठीक है। तो ये डिफ्लेशन मतलब क्या हुआ है, टोटल आपकी जो प्राइसेस है वो कम हो चुके हैं। तो जब प्राइसेस कम होते हैं, यहां पर आप देख सकते हो आपका जो कर्जा होता है वो बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है। Okay, so here this is the point where your debt becomes more burdensome. So during deflation, actual buying power of each dollar used to repay the debt becomes greater. As I told you, जब डॉलर 70 रुपए में था, चीप था, तब तो 3,500 रुपीज मेरा कर्जा था, लेकिन जैसे ही डिफ्लेशन की वजह से 80 रुपए हो गया, यहां पर आप देख सकते हो 4,000 रुपए बन गया, मतलब डेट जो था, कर्जा जो था, बहुत थोड़ा भारी हो गया, ठीक है। Then when we look at China's deflation impact on global, of course global supply chains पे impact करेगा, ग्लोबल ग्रोथ पे करेगा, क्योंकि चाइना दुनिया की सेकंड लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी है। इसके साथ साथ चाइना इज दैट पर्टिकुलर एशियन इकोनॉमी विच इज कनेक्टेड टू ऑलमोस्ट ऑल दी डिफरेंट कॉन्टिनेंट्स एंड मेनी ऑफ द कंट्रीज इन ऑल द सेक्टर्स। तो इससे ट्रेड के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्ट होगा, एंड व्हेन यू नो कि ट्रेड के ऊपर अगर ज्यादा इफेक्ट हुआ तो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स के ऊपर भी होगा, एंड देन ओवरऑल इंडिविजुअल डोमेस्टिक इकोनॉमीज के ऊपर भी इफेक्ट होगा। Then its central banks and monetary policy always, when deflation and inflation situation comes, the main authority which always is held into tandem is the apex bank. For example, इंडिया में ज्यादा इन्फ्लेशन या डिफ्लेशन हो गया तो आरबीआई ही, कोई भी जाके आरबीआई को ही पूछेगा। So therefore China's monetary policy and central banks would be always held for the controlling this particular deflation. What should India do? Nothing but diversifying the exports, looking at that. For example, चाइना ने जो गलती की है वो हमने नहीं करनी चाहिए। Diversification of exports, attracting foreign direct investment, promoting domestic manufacturing and consumption, and building economic and strategic alliances. So this was all about this particular topic. Thank you very much. See you next time.